We usually think of history as something that's, well, locked away in books or behind glass in a museum. But what if the past isn't really past at all? What if it's right here with us, living and breathing in our present? Today, we're going to explore the surprising ways that we all live with history every single day. I mean, just think about that for a second. The very rooms where you eat dinner, watch TV, and live your life. What if, over a century ago, someone who literally changed the world walked on those exact same floors? It's a pretty wild thought. And for one man, it's not a what if, it's his reality. So, our first story takes us to a pretty unassuming London apartment. And no, we're not talking about literal ghosts, but about the echoes of a life left behind, and the really incredible connections that can pop up from just sharing the same space. Okay, so picture this. We're in Soho, London, a place that's just layered with history. On a street called Dean Street, there's this flat. Now, to most people walking by, it's just another London home, but its walls have seen two completely different worlds unfold. So, way back in the 19th century, this flat was home to Karl Marx. Yeah, the Karl Marx, the philosopher who totally reshaped political thought. He lived right here with his wife and their 7 children. Now fast forward to today, and it's the home of a guy named John, a press photographer, living there with his wife. I mean, a world-changing revolutionary and a modern photographer. You couldn't imagine 2 more different lives, connected by the very same 4 walls. And that's what's so cool. It creates this incredibly tangible connection, right? It's one thing to read about history, but it's a whole other thing to actually live inside it. The past and the present aren't just ideas here, they are literally roommates. For John, history isn't some far-off concept, it's the very space he calls home. Okay, so that's a case of history just showing up on your doorstep. But what if your connection to history isn't an accident? What if instead of history finding you, you decide to spend your entire life chasing it? Well, that brings us to our next story. So I want you to meet Frida Hoffman. For her, history isn't a noun, it's a verb. It's an active, lifelong adventure. She doesn't just sit around and wait for history to come to her. She goes out into the world, actively hunting for the stories of ancient civilizations. And get this, her whole journey started when she was just 10 years old, after she saw an exhibition on Tutankhamun in London and was just completely captivated. That one experience lit a fire in her that has taken her all over Africa and Asia. She loves Egypt so much she's been there at least 20 times. She's led teams that have made massive discoveries, and she's even written books on the pharaohs. For Frida, history is a grand adventure, plain and simple. And let me tell you, this pursuit wasn't always a walk in the park. She's been in some genuinely dangerous situations. But that intense fascination, that deep need she has to connect with the past, is this powerful force that just keeps pushing her forward. It's a pretty amazing testament to how history can become your life's mission. So we've seen history in a place you live, and we've seen it as a passion you chase. But there's another kind of history, one that's way more personal. It's not something you can find in an ancient tomb or an old apartment. It's the history that's written into your very DNA. And that brings us to our final story, which is all about that profound, deep connection we have to the past through our own family tree. So, let's talk about David Taylor Butes. Like a lot of us, he got a little curious about his roots, but when he started digging, he didn't just find a few names on a family tree. No, he uncovered this epic story of migration, of survival, and of change that stretched back more than 1,000 years. So let's just trace this incredible journey for a minute. It all starts way, way back in the 9th century, with his ancestors sailing from Scandinavia over to Scotland. For generations, they made a home for themselves in the Orkney Islands. Then, in his grandparents' time, the family moved to find work in the shipyards. And now, today, David is in Australia, on the complete other side of the planet, adding a whole new chapter to his family's long, winding story. It really shows you that family history isn't static. It's this living, breathing story that's still being written. So when you put these 3 stories together, what do they really tell us? Well, they show that our connection to history isn't just one thing. It's this multifaceted, deeply personal thing for every single one of us. It can be totally accidental, just hiding in the walls of your home, waiting for you to find it, just like John's apartment in Soho. Or it can be a deliberate choice. A driving passion that pulls you to the farthest corners of the world, just like our archaeologist Frida. And maybe most importantly, it can be the story you carry right inside you, that thousand-year journey of your ancestors, like the one David discovered. History is our heritage. See, in the end, history isn't just about dusty, old dates and famous names in a textbook. It's about connections, to places, to passions, and to the people who came before us. The past is alive. It's all around you, right now. So really, the only question left is, what's your story?